Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Unpause and repause so that it doesn't play the video in my face. Greetings, everyone. Everything is docketed. It's a day without technical difficulties. It's kind of a rare one, actually, when you think about it. Normally, I have at least one glitch happen every single day. A video doesn't work. A video doesn't load. A video that I'm trying to upload glitches out. Or I misspeak and have to do a retake. That doesn't happen very often, but occasionally. I tend to be a little bit off the cuff. That's why I can do live streaming. We've got some interesting news today. We do have Joe Biden's cancer prognosis, and multiple medical experts in the wake of the breaking news yesterday that Joe Biden has prostate cancer as well as bone cancer. Now it is metastasized. They've been analyzing it. I wanted to go on a little bit of a rant about MREs. I ate the taco MRE earlier, and I thought it was generally favorable. I would retain that particular menu. But we're going to talk about military rations in general at length. We've got some delusion about Bernie Sanders. America chose wrong. Sanders would have been a better president than Trump or Biden. I'm a Vermonter, so I have some insider info on this. So we'll be talking about it. It's delusional. Trump took Bruce Springsteen's bait. Yes, because Bruce Springsteen is still socially relevant. Yes, the boss is still the boss. Not really. We'll be joking about that most. That's going to be a funny news story. Unfortunately, and we're going to give him a salute, Kanzi is dead. Kanzi the bonobo, and who understood conversational English, actually. I believe this is the last of the talking apes, as they colloquially term them, along with Coco and some of these others. So, salute for Kanzi, and dicks out for Harambe. He was not a talking ape, but still culturally relevant. And the dead squirrel, of course. We must talk about the dead squirrel as well. FDA plan to ban fluoride supplements baffles and alarms dental experts. Yes, because if you're into dentistry, you surely want people to have healthy teeth, so you have to do less work and therefore make less money, right? I think that we can put two and two together with regards to this one. Having fluoride in the water is nonsensical at this point. It's anti-science, actually. Biden ass cancer. No, the prostate, I don't believe, is in the ass. It's not the same as rectal cancer or colorectal cancer. Oh, did it metastasize to his ass? Does Biden actually have ass cancer? I don't know if people are trolling or not at this point. Yeah, he had a high-level Gleason score, so he's dying. There's nothing they can do. At this point, we'll talk about that first. Here... The New York Times, Biden's cancer diagnosis and why Ukraine is seeing a surge of violence. Somebody could misconstrue that as being linked in some ways. I think that it's weird. Even Stelter's coming out and talking about the timing of the diagnosis being released. Oh yeah, a few months after the election, you admit that you have end-stage cancer. And they're not even talking, by the way, and this is the inexplicable part. There are two parts to this story that I didn't get to yesterday. Number one is the timing is relevant because they had to have known, because of routine physicals, that Joe Biden had cancer some time ago. Number two, and this is a glaring omission from some of the stories about this, Joe Biden is not seeking to be cured of this cancer. He's not refusing treatment specifically, but obviously the prognosis is particularly grim. He's 82 years old. He's got end-stage cancer in both his prostate and his bones. It's metastasized. There's nothing they can do. And so some articles are being a little bit more honest and saying, well, this therapy will provide a better quality of life. So with hormone therapy, he'll last a little bit longer, basically is what they're saying. He is dying. He has end-stage cancer. He will not be around very much longer. The other part to the story that some of the sites are omitting is that because of the advanced level of cancer that he has, so, it's again a Gleason scale of 9. Because of that, it had to have taken root years ago. And it could have even predated the last election. Yet he was still attempting to run. He would have died in office. He'll probably be dead within the next year or two. And they had to have known that it was there. But they ran him anyway. And I think that the entire goal was to get him into office. He dies in office. And Kamala becomes the first female president. The Democrats desperately wanted that to happen. So the first female president would be a glaring psychopath with various bizarre personality traits and an incapability of interacting with others in a normal manner. So the Democratic Party, the White House physician, and a bunch of other people effectively covered this up. They knew that he was dying. They knew he had cancer. And he's not even seeking treatment. It's become advanced enough that the only treatment that he's seeking is basically, hey, I'm going to slow this disease down so that I can go and eat more ice cream for a few years. And that's basically the best that I can hope for. Yeah. By the way, Joe Biden had to have known as well. But I'll give him a pass because he probably forgot the diagnosis within 10 minutes. But I won't forgive the people around him. They are goddamn ghouls. Absolute monsters, as I pointed out in my breaking news video on the subject. I blame them. I don't blame Joe Biden. He was probably unaware of it within, again, 10 to 20 minutes or something like that. But they were around him. They knew that he had cancer. They didn't do anything. A drunk changeling got a deal on MREs for $40 a case as an emergency packed lunches. Currently enjoying the maple bacon patty. Not bad. Damn, I wish I could get that sort of deal. 40 for a whole case? Ah, you lucky bastard. One tall order. Pound Town. I just left Pound Town. My coochie pink, my booty hole brown. Jesus. Yeah, the problem is that they knew. The problem isn't the cancer itself. I mean, for Biden, of course, it's a problem, and for the people that actually still give a damn about him. But the real problem is the cover-up that had to have been involved with this. There's no way that the people around him didn't know. It's just like with his dementia. The people around him who intimately interacted with him on a regular basis, so, people like Kamala, Jill, and so forth, they had to have known that his memory had begun to slip. I mean, he's falling all over the place. He's having all sorts of fucking weird health issues. He's not coherent when he's speaking. And now we know one of the possible reasons why. Maybe it was the cancer. Maybe he's not demented. Maybe it's just the cancer. But they knew that he had it. And given the timeline of this cancer, and it's been analyzed now by multiple individuals within mainstream medicine. So this isn't like fringe doctors or something. This is like people who are educated at Harvard. They're probably all woke. They're saying, well, it should have been evident like 5 years ago. Wonderful. So, that's really great to know. It's really great to know that somebody who would probably have died in office, I give an over and under here. This is the challenge. Do you think that Joe Biden will be alive at the end of Trump's term? I say no. I do not believe he will survive that long, even with therapy. Because he's not taking, like, radiotherapy or anything like that, trying to, get rid of the cancer. That is too far gone. The ship has already sailed. At this point, they're literally stating all he's interested in is having a better quality of life. He knows that he's dying. Now, that's one up for him, oddly enough, because, he could seek, he could try to prolong his life even further by taking, like, chemo or something like that, but, yeah, it's worthless, it's useless, there's no reason to do so. He's seeking to prolong his life for a year or two, and then he will pass away. He's literally got it, yes, he's gotten the death sentence, exactly. Once it metastasizes to your bones, I would think that's probably not the greatest prognosis that you could get. JDC, my dad went through the exact cancer deal. The treatments did exactly what happened to Biden. His mind just started to go away. It was sad. 2.5 years from diagnoses to the end. Yeah, my condolences, by the way. In Biden's case, I mean, since anyone can get cancer, I'm not going to sit there and, like, some commentators are being ghoulish too, and they're, like, laughing about Joe Biden having bone cancer and shit. I'm not going to laugh about it. At the same time, I am going to criticize the people around him, especially for covering up the fact that they knew he had cancer. They had to have known. It's impossible that they fucking didn't know. Either that or, you know, he lingers on into his 100 years of age or something like that inexplicably or something. If he had won re-election, they would keep pumping him full of CIA super drugs, and that would probably, he'd last a little longer. Copium poppies, what if cancer is just the friends we've made along the way? Yeah, well, the left is the real cancer. I mean, again, I'm not going to celebrate Joe Biden getting cancer because I could get it. Any one of you could get it. Hell, some of you probably already have it and don't even realize it. So, yeah, that's not exactly a fun topic. But when you get an annual physical, a fairly thorough one, you're the President of the United States, okay? There's no possibility that the White House physician and the medical staff there could have missed this until literally now. It's not possible. There is no possibility. 0% chance. They knew he had cancer, but they still encouraged him to run, at least until he phased out there in the debate. I mean, they're pumping him full of so much shit. The drug cocktail that he's on, if I took it, I'd probably be out running a marathon right now. Let's put it that way. Now I wanted to rant a little bit. And I beg the U.S. military. I hope beyond hope, that there's one person out there that's in with the U.S. military, sort of engineering corps or something like that can get this message to the U.S. military. Please, hire me to taste test and help design MREs, because there are a few glaring errors with them. I had the beef tacos last night, right? And, I mean, the ration heater didn't fully work, but it warmed it up enough, and it was still tasty. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. The beef tacos definitely need to be retained. It's nice and functional, very high in protein. Adding the cheese spread with the tacos made sense, although you could have added some veggie crackers in there. I wanted to make a few remarks upon MREs. This is just something that I'm fascinated with, so this is a bit of a rant. Number one, there are two modern advents in new MREs that are really, really great. Number one, the replacement of certain old-style crackers with the veggie crackers. Now, there is a problem, and it needs to be addressed. The veggie crackers are much more crumbly, so it's harder to spread things on them, although they're pretty tasty on their own, as opposed to the old-school crackers, which are much less crumbly. So that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. And secondly, the seasoning pouches. Occasionally you'll find these little tiny packets of seasoning in there, and it's full of herbs and spices and shit like that. But I've got another thing that I want in all MREs, which is that all of them should have spicy components. Speaking of food, let's get to our sponsors before we continue. Don't worry, I'll go through the whole MRE list. We have cultivated-mind.com. You can get mushroom-activated supplements for your dog. You can get mushroom supplements for you. Radiant Energy, Brain Squared. Use code STICKS, by the way, on the site. And they're really great, actually. Haven't tried one of the doggy biscuits yet. It's got 6 dual-activated mushroom extracts in it. Keep in mind, I won't talk about any product that I don't myself personally support. Secondly, we've got BiltongUSA.com. Yes, Anton's home of biltong. He can sell you an infinite supply of meat. And it's all really tasty, let me tell you. Also, traditionally, anytime we mention Anton, also use code STICKS on his site as well, we eat a little bow rat. It's almost gone. I've eaten almost the whole thing. I'm literally scraping the bottom of the, well, not barrel, but jar. Bovrite, Vegemite, Marmite, Biltong, Styx Hex and Hammer mugs, Styx Hex and Hammer shirts, Styx Hex and Hammer tumblers. We've got it all. Again, use code STIX. And finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com, which has a pretty cool logo, actually. We got some tea here. I haven't had to open this one yet, but I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to have to. Oh my god, it's a problem. And delicious tea. We've got Clanker coffee. Yes, the official coffee of Clankdom is available on jamnbean.com. Again, I believe use code STIX at checkout. And it's really, really good. Yeah, there's Anton right now. Perfect timing. That's what I'm talking about. John Hoyle, it's always some plain homely woman with a talking ape. BS. No, there are instances where apes have learned rudimentary sign language and appear to understand human language in a general sense. This is one of them. Copium poppies. Cancer is the great equalizer. I don't celebrate Biden getting it specifically, but it is comforting knowing that even with the best medical tech, the elites die from cancer just like the rest of us. Yes, it is an equalizer, absolutely. Emperor Soft Turtle, I will never understand your view. Jill likes or cares about Biden. There is a point where you have to protect your partner against their wishes. Jill used him like everyone else did. No, I think that she was one of the standouts that didn't actually try to use Joe. And for clout and shit, yeah, of course, they're power couple. We all know that. But I think that she was the one primarily trying to shield him from other people that were doing the same thing. Taco Woman, Sandy Ravage, first a snowstorm, then a terrorist attack, then the acid bath reunion, and now a massive jailbreak. What's next for your chaos magic? We'll see. Pinocchio Knows said, sent $9.99. Thank you. So yeah, let's get back into some MREs. Here are the components. These are the entrees that they have available. I'm going to rate them. Beef goulash. That one was good. I liked the beef goulash. Beef patty, grilled. Yeah, it's acceptable. Beef ravioli and meat sauce. That one was really good. And the beef stew, that one is excellent, actually. Beef strips and a savory tomato sauce. Never got to try that one. Beef taco filling, which I just ate last night. That one, I'd give it about a 7 or 8 out of 10, actually. It was a little sparse on the components. We'll be rambling about certain components that should be mandatory in a moment. Cheese tortellini and tomato sauce. Good. Chicken egg noodles and vegetables and sauce. Far too bland. Chicken burrito bowl. Never had it. Doesn't sound like that's the sort of thing that would scale to an MRE and be palatable still. Chicken chunks. White, cooked. Absolutely retarded. The worst MRE menu that I've had. And I've eaten MREs from other countries, and sometimes they're better than others, but I would say that's the worst thing that I've ever tried. Gave me indigestion. The seasoning that comes with it, like the pouch with the sauce, is literally just, acrid heat, basically. Ugh, it was disgusting. I suppose if you chop them up and marinate them for a couple of days in something that actually has flavor to it, it might not be bad. Chicken stir fry. Haven't had it. Chili and macaroni. Decent. Chili with beans. Decent. Elbow macaroni and tomato sauce. Didn't try that one. Italian sausage with peppers and onions in marinara sauce. I wish that I could try that one. That sounds like it would probably be pretty good. Meatballs in marinara. That was good. Mexican-style rice and bean bowl. I don't think I've had that one. Pizza slice, cheese or pepperoni. I think the one I had didn't have pepperoni. I'm astounded that they were able to develop an MRE that actually could contain a pizza slice and it would actually be good. It was pretty good. I mean, it's like cafeteria pizza, but, that's certainly, it's better than a lot of the other MREs. Pork sausage patty, maple flavored. I liked that one. A little bit too sweet for me, but other than that, it's pretty good. Southwest style beef and black beans with sauce. That was alright. Spaghetti with beef and sauce. That was good. Tuna, flexible pouch, chunk. I haven't had a chance to try that, but I do know that the lemon pepper tuna component in some of the 24-hour MREs, it's not included as a main course, it's just a part of a snack, is pretty good, actually. It's not bad. I'm having tuna noodle casserole tonight, by the way. And then you have all of your accessories and stuff like that. Here's my suggestion. Number one, every single MRE should include the little herb seasoning pouch, which is only sporadic at the moment. It takes up almost no room. It adds a great deal to certain entrees, and the dudes can always, trade them amongst themselves. One dude wants 5 of them and doesn't want his applesauce or something like that. That's number one. Number two, every MRE should include something spicy. I think they should bring back the little Tabasco sauce containers. You can still get them in stores, by the way. It's just those little tiny ones. Again, takes up virtually no space, very low weight, etc. Number three, they should all include, they should all not include matches. And here's why. Why are you including matches when you're not including cigarettes? What purpose, or hexamine tablets? What purpose do the matches serve, actually? I mean, I understand in a survival situation they might be useful. Well, then put them in every other MRE or something like that. There's no reason for every soldier to have a pack of matches 3 times a day or anything like that, because there's nothing to use them with. I mean, the soldiers aren't allowed to smoke. Even though in the field, obviously, nobody gives a shit. And they're not using hexamine to cook with. They're using flameless ration heaters. So what the hell is the point of having them there? What the hell is the point of the matches? Swap out the matches for, something spicy like red chili flakes. They use white pepper sometimes, or the Tabasco bottle, and you can sort of mix and match. And also, always include crackers and spread. The veggie crackers, once re-engineered to hold together better, any kind of spread, and apparently the jalapeno cheese spread is an unofficial currency in the U.S. Army. I've had multiple people tell me this. Some of you have probably been in the Army or Marines or something like that, and you can vouch for me. I've been told this by dozens of individuals. Let's get this out onto a tray. Nice. Yeah, I know the reference. Yeah, Steve is great. Zach Webster, between the prayers of millions of boomers and Styx' occult magic, is there a divine protection on Trump which results in everything going his way? He is divinely protected and demonically protected. Crossover Maniac, I'd rather have a cure for cancer and live than to suffer through cancer with the elites. I hope they find a cure for cancer before I get the diagnosis. Unfortunately, I don't think that cancer is something that can really be treated with modern tech. Through genetic studies, I'm sure that we'll be able to figure out, sort of how to haul off against it, which would be nice. Lucian Hex. To my sister in El Paso, please know that your brother does love you. I hope all is well with you and your family. Keep being great, Sir Styx. Nice. John Hoyle sent $9.99. No comment. Thank you. Pinocchio's. I make weird as fuck AI shorts every day. Enjoy. Yes, the vomlet is apparently legend. There are certain legends within military food. Like, the vomlet, apparently the worst military ration that was ever created. Although I think I wish that I could try one with the original formulation. I'm sure that they're all expired by now for like 30 years, I think. I wish I could try it. I bet I would like it better than the white chicken chunk menu that's currently available. It was atrocious. By atrocious, I mean, imagine that you have completely unseasoned, properly cooked, but completely unseasoned white chicken, and then you have a sauce to put on it. How wonderful, and some tortillas. You put them in the tortillas, drizzle the sauce on them, and it's like a chicken taco, right? The problem is that there's literally no flavor. The sauce has no flavor either. I don't know who invented that particular menu, but they need to be fired. The military really needs to consult me on these issues. I think that they would have higher troop morale. Because if I got the white chicken chunks and I was out in the jungle being shot at, I would be awfully goddamn sad. And you know that's the menu that nobody's going to trade a cross for. So you're just going to dump the chicken and shit out and just eat the accessories at that point. That's what I would do. And say, okay, I've got peanut butter crackers, at least I won't starve. Yeah, I've had military rations from the UK. Those were good. I've had both the modern version and the old boxed version. I prefer the former, although I understand the redesign for logistic purposes. The best MRE, though, that I've ever had? Australian CRM. I had a subscriber who was in the Australian military one time, and he sent me 4 24-hour CRMs. I looked him up, and God, he gave me like $300 worth of fucking military rations. I was like, oh shit, that's a princely gift. And I liked every minute of it. They have these musk-flavored candies in there. And they're actually great. It's something that some people are going to really love, and some people are going to be like, I'm eating perfume. Personally, I thought they were great. And they had like carrot soup and all sorts of stuff. So do the British rations sometimes. And I think if I had to put them in order, Australia's got the best. Sweden has the second best. The Netherlands has the third best, then the UK, then the US. And then you go on down the line. The Czech ration was pretty sparse. The Polish ration was insane, because, like, it was half candy for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. Had, like, little plastic cups and weird shit. I'm like, why? This makes no sense. The Ukrainian ration was virtually inedible. The Estonian ration was alright. The Russian ration, some of the components were good. Like, they had this one spread that you put on, like, crackers and shit. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was delicious, actually. But the meat was, like, unpalatable. Then the Spanish ration sucked. And where else? There were a couple of other countries. Oh, Norway, theirs was really good. I guess that would be just under the U.S. So the U.S. is, like, in the top quarter, but not the A-plus student, basically, for military food. It's very calorie dense, but the Australian rations and any cold weather ration that you get is much more dense. I can't remember how many calories were in the Swedish Norwegian cold weather ration that I had. I think it was 3,000 or something like that. Ate that with Liz one time. One person alone, unless they're marching 20 miles in that same day under Arctic conditions, probably should not absorb that many calories unless they need to recover from anorexia. It was nuts. I've had a great time eating these, as you can tell. One tall order. Sticks, have you ever tried the U.S. humanitarian MREs? Yes, actually. I did. They're pretty basic compared to the components you get in the military rations. But they're not bad, actually. In fact, I think I have one in the other room still left. I'll have to eat one on camera. Love Doge said, sent $20. No comment. Thank you very much. John Hoyle had joined annual quartered only because you were part of that show and had told Jeremy as much. Very disappointed that he cut that program. It was a good mix. Yeah, I liked my time on the show, and I hope to return to it. But if he's got, he takes out a ton of debt to make a coffee company, it's going to take him a while to recoup, so he can't keep everyone hired. Steve, Ethiopian MREs. That is probably a handful of sand or something like that. Anyways, we'll get to more news. I've rambled enough about military rations. We'll have more time at the end of the show. America chose wrong. Sanders would have been a better president than Trump or Biden. This is an opinion piece by Sarah Pequeño. Let me tell you about Bernie Sanders. He is not likable in any way. His ideology is not well liked. And far leftists continue to astroturf him because he keeps getting perpetually elected because he's in a state that is heavily blue. So the fact that leftists and many liberals in the state of Vermont like Bernie Sanders enough to keep voting for him perpetually does not extrapolate to a national stage. And this is a very, very interesting case with regards to demographics as well. Vermont is generally rural. Rural Vermonters tend to vote for the incumbent anyway. There are a handful of principled Republicans, and then there are a handful of independents like myself that buck this trend. But generally speaking, they're going to continue to vote for whoever's in office, and that tends to be a liberal unless it happens to be Phil Scott. And that's mostly because NIMBYist liberals don't want their taxes raised. Oh, I could tell you a million stories about that. Bernie Sanders would never win a national election. It's not possible. And this is slightly condescending now, when you really think about it. Americans chose wrong. No, we didn't. We chose what we chose. Who are you? Who in Davy Jones' Inferno are you to tell us who to vote for Cap'n? I don't know. I like to devolve into piracy occasionally. You may have noticed this. Bernie Sanders, he's incapable of being the president of the United States. He's pure legislative. His only experience in an executive capacity is as, I believe, mayor of Burlington for a short period of time before he entered the House and then the Senate. He's a legislator. Also, Bernie Sanders is just an awkward dude. People have told about their personal interactions with him, how he's basically insufferable. He's single-mindedly fixated just on politics and his own variant thereof. He jogs from place to place on a regular basis. I've seen him do it. When I was at the airport in Burlington once, my now ex-girlfriend was coming up via Greyhound. That's back when the Greyhound station was the airport. And I'm waiting outside. And who is it who comes out of the door? Bernie Sanders with a couple of staffers. And he's pretty much jogging to his fucking vehicle. And at the time I was a liberal, so I said, keep up the good work, Bernie. I regret having done so. Hey, at least I'm being honest. But then a couple years later, when Bernie Sanders was running again, I flipped him off and said, down with left fascism, actually. So I guess I atoned for my sin. It was pretty funny at the time. Anyways, getting back to the actual news here. Bernie would not be capable. He's not the kind of person that's capable of leading in an executive fashion. I'll tell you why. By all accounts, even by people who like him, he is an acerbic, wry, very, very dry, cut down to earth sort of old dude. It's the kind of person who you're going to end up with like staffing shortages because nobody wants to work for you. He's not the sort of person who would be respected in diplomacy. He's going to try to either talk down to foreign leaders or he's going to suck their cock, basically, depending on what their policies are. Well, why haven't you adopted socialism? Don't you know that that's the best system in the world? I mean, he wouldn't even go to a capitalistic country. I mean, he's a fruitcake, basically. I say this, by the way, as a Vermonter, so you can take it to the bank. Yeah, Zeta, Gothics got let go of as well. So, I mean, it wasn't just because I nodded off due to exhaustion, as some people are claiming. Though that did happen. I was tired as fuck. I'm a chronic insomniac. Yeah, I've got to do more MRE videos fairly soon. We'll return to that topic later. Trump took Bruce Springsteen's bait. This week's mini-feud pits two predictable septuagenarians against each other, and the result is a personal gift to the boss. Yes, apparently, if you habitually harass another person with bullshit, and say stupid shit about them, and they finally say, basically, you're a loser, apparently that gives them some sort of victory. That's basically what the far-left media is claiming. When's the last time that Bruce Springsteen was particularly relevant? He was culturally relevant 40 years ago. Yeah. Trump happens to be relevant at this very moment. You may not like him. You may not like his ideology, what he stands for, what he says, what he does, but he's culturally relevant. Bruce Springsteen is relevant in the sense that people still show up to his concerts, only these days they're throwing their Depends undergarments instead of their panties up on stage. Excuse me if I don't give a fuck. And by the way, this has nothing, my opinion about Springsteen has nothing to do with politics at all. I find them retarded, but it has nothing to do with that. I have never liked Bruce Springsteen's music and don't understand why he actually shot out of a cannon 40 years ago. I literally don't understand it. I can't think of a Bruce Springsteen song that I like, actually. It's like he's the anti-Depeche Mode. I can't think of a Depeche Mode song that I don't like. At least a little. Some of them are better than others, of course. Some of them, like Barrel of a Gun, is an unsung masterpiece. With Bruce Springsteen, it's more like, I can't think of a single goddamn song that I goddamn like. I just don't give a shit. And, I mean, the thing is, like, you know, I mean, at least you still have a voice, I suppose, so that's one for you. But other than that, you've got no real redeeming musical quality either. The music fucking sucks. It's basically, it's the stuff that you play in the bar when you're 3 sheets to the wind and stuff like that. Yeah, Springsteen, music like that is just not my forte. If I'm going to listen to rock, I'm going to listen to probably like CCR or something like that. Give me some Creedence Clearwater Revival. Get me In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Give me some Iron Butterfly or something like that. That's what I'm talking about. Get me some early Black Sabbath. Those are great. I love rock and roll. I wish that rock and roll would, actually revive itself. Hell, I will take Bryan Adams over Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, choose your fighter mode. It's going to be Bryan Adams. It hits harder. It's more talented. And that's basically usually sappy, and some of it's only arguably rock at all, but I would rather listen to that. Or listen to, Dark Wave or something like that. Cold Wave is good. French Cold Wave? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. By the way, it's an interesting juxtaposition. This is now a little bit of a mini rant. When I'm happy, I listen to depressive music. When I'm sad, I listen to happy music because I'm trying to counterbalance. I can psychoanalyze myself. I'm trying to counterbalance my emotions. So, like, later, I'm going to be listening to, like, Dark Wave and shit like that, because right now I'm rather happy. It's interesting. The only exception is Italo disco. I'll listen, or dance music. I'll listen to that anytime. But you got to get the bass. You got to get earphones that have good bass on them, at least. One tall order. Lotus Eaters did a podcast segment Friday on the incestuous nature of the music industry. You might enjoy. Didn't I mention that recently about, like, the Cyruses, actually? Yeah, there is some weird shit that goes on there, because I think, like, parents that are a little bit too into their children, they love them a little too much, often get involved in getting them into the industry. And it's like, basically, hey, I know that you suck my cock every night, but you're going to suck his cock for a few nights, and he's going to give you $1 million. I have a feeling that happens awfully more often than we would wish. Just saying. Judas Priest, yeah. Like 5 people saying Judas Priest. Yeah, I like Judas Priest. Van Halen, Iron Butterfly, Van Halen, Judas Priest, Ozzy solo or in Black Sabbath, Dio. There's all sorts of good shit. Led Zeppelin. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Coven. The Scorpions. Oh, you were saying Scorpios. I thought that you were talking about the Scorpions, the band. Kansas, America, the Eagles, Don Henley solo. Sometimes. Depends on the song. Whitesnake. Lemmy, of course. Lemmy. We can talk about Lemmy. Great guy. His last video, I can't remember what he said, but it was very vulgar. He seems to have had a thing for that. Alice Cooper, The Doors, The Who, all sorts of good shit. Yeah, I could go through. My favorites list is now public, by the way, so you can go through that and see the sort of music and weird shit that I listen to. Tadzio, Prince is way underrated. How can you possibly say that Prince is underrated? He had the number one Super Bowl halftime show. He had like what, 20 or 30 top hits through his career. If anything, some of his material is overrated, I would say. Now people are talking about Scorpio. I want to talk about the Scorpions, man. Yeah, I like one of my favorite rock songs, Carry On My Wayward Son. Yeah, by Kansas. That's one of the great ones. We have to salute Kanzi, the bonobo, who understood spoken English and could communicate symbolically, who unfortunately died yesterday. This, by the way, is related to something that I talked about only a couple of days ago, which is I mentioned offhand that I thought that bonobos were arguably smarter than chimpanzees, or at least on par with them. But relatively less research has been done into them. When we're talking about especially language and behavioral studies, a lot of it's been done with gorillas or chimps, relatively less for bonobos, and I don't know of any ongoing studies with regards to orangutans and other apes and ape-like creatures and monkeys and shit like that. I don't know of any of them, which is unfortunate. I have a feeling that orangutans are considerably more intelligent than they're given credit for. You may have noticed that I am pro-orangutan. I think that we should invade Borneo and burn down the palm plantations and replant the rainforest there, actually. I'm only semi-joking when I say this. Some of the footage there is rather heartbreaking, actually. That being said, what I would say is this. This is effectively a quasi-individual. Because in this case, you have, as far as my knowledge goes, the only instance of an ape that was capable of proactively asking questions, not simply responding and maybe telling a story or something like that, like Coco the gorilla could do that. Was asked about, I think it was Coco, like the death of Coco's mother, actually, and said something like hurt, loud, run, and in simple terms like that. And so when you conjugate them, you can sort of understand the narrative. So basically, someone shot the mother, and Coco got rescued. I think that was Coco. And that shows cognition on a level that you wouldn't expect from, for example, a sparrow or a rat or something like that. You know, training an animal to do simple tasks is different from proactive communication. In Kanzi's case, though, you had beyond proactive interaction. For instance, in one case, link in the description, archived of course, pointing to a picture of a ball and asking proactively, egg, basically, capable of conjugating subsequent meanings together, capable of asking questions, attempting to understand the world around him. And I'm going to use the term him for Kanzi, actually, because that shows a level of cognition that is human-like enough. It would be on par with a slow adult, basically. It would be on par with someone that we would label human. The only difference is the species that happens to be involved. That's literally the only difference. The fact that certain apes have been able to learn this is, to me, fascinating. And I do not believe, some people are questioning the ethical nature of these studies. Let me ask you a question. Let's say that an ape is going to be in captivity. So they're not going to be able to be released out in the wild. There's no way for them to do so. They're going to be in captivity. Is it unethical to attempt to train them to better communicate their desires and their needs and so forth with those that are taking care of them? I answer no. If the ape is capable of determining which kind of food it wants, what it wants to do at the time, and proactively query the human that's taking care of them about this, I see that as not only not unethical, I see that as highly ethical. I think it's a good thing. What do we do with people who are very slow, for example, who would be on par intellectually with Kanzi or Coco or something like that, who can basically only grunt and do very simple tasks. What do? We attempt to train them in order to allow them to interact with their surroundings more intelligently and make their needs known, make their desires known. We don't simply lock them in a goddamn cell and say, "Oh, here." We don't just lock them in a cage and let them roam around eating their own shit. We proactively attempt to promulgate in them the ability to interact with their surroundings and the people around them more intelligently. Now, this is limited in its capability. But if I had somebody that I was watching over who was very slow, I would attempt to help them to communicate to me, what food do you want? What do you need right now? Do you want to sleep? Do you want to eat? Do you want to go outside? Do you want to be inside? And so forth. Simple meanings, simple conjugated meanings and queries, which would help them. I don't see anything unethical with doing this with great apes. I just don't understand why somebody would have an ethical query about that. It doesn't make any sense. If the ape is capable of asking basic questions and deriving meaning and apparently understands the rudiments of basic English, that basically makes them a person. It's no longer an ape. It's just a different species of person at that point that happens to be effectively a very high-functioning ape, but also at the same time equivalent to a slow adult. Giving it, in my mind, additional rights, by the way. Alright, now that we've ranted about apes for a while. Copium Poppies, we keep our bassist in the retard cage. The last time he got out, AOC ended up pregnant. Needless to say, he got the spray bottle. Yeah. Apes are cool. My favorite, though, is still always going to be the orangutan. I think partially because when I was a kid, I thought that the term orangutan sounded funny, and I thought they were humorous, so I think that's why I like them the best. There's nothing wrong with chimps, although they tend to be kind of violent sometimes. Bonobos are great, because bonobos, they have a different culture. If human beings were descended from a lineage closer to the bonobo than to the chimpanzee, instead of going to war, we would all be fucking one another all the time. There'd be a lot more children around. In bonobo tribes, when all hell breaks loose and two members decide to go to blows with one another, the female bonobos will start rubbing their crotches, and they're all bisexual, by the way. They'll start rubbing themselves and getting all hot and bothered, and then I'll literally have an orgy. I think that would be a better world than the one that we're currently living in. Maybe less sophisticated in the technological sense, but instead of fighting and killing one another, if we just fucked each other, like imagine that two tribes go to war, so to speak, and all they do is all of the dudes and dudettes, they go across the border and they just like cross fuck all the time. That would be funny. So yeah, bonobos, I mean, technically with this training, you have established the intellectual capabilities of at least a slow adult, and bonobos do use ecofax, just like chimpanzees do. They have a gestural language, which is much more developed than what you see generally in the animal world. Effectively, they're like little humans. Should be training all of them. We should teach them tool usage and stuff like that. Because apparently they can also pass down the usage of tools and things like that from one generation to another. I saw a video once of an orangutan using a saw to cut a piece of wood for its own amusement. And the intelligence of apes is considerably greater than it was originally estimated to be, hundreds of years ago. Originally, it was like, oh, look at this dumb animal. It kind of looks a little bit like a human, and we can train it to juggle and shit like that. But we're now finding out that they're capable of proactive question making. They're capable of understanding human language to an extent. They've got a much more massive gestural language than originally estimated. It's now, we're counting in the hundreds as opposed to the dozens. And so on and so on forth. These are effectively proto-humans. That's why I believe that at least for the great apes, certain subhuman rights, I suppose you could call them, should be extended to them. We should make sure that they do not go extinct, because when we inevitably do, they might still be left behind. In a million years from now, they might be the new humans. It'd be a literal Planet of the Apes. Texas Patrick P. Scott Adams, Dilbert, has same cancer as Joe Biden. Oh, that fucking sucks. Sigil, yesterday I saw AOC being referred to as Jennifer Slopez, and I've been chuckling about it since. Alright, that's a good one. He got me with that. Jennifer Slopez. Oh, God. Yeah. When we look at the great apes, I think that we're seeing a level of cognition that is considerable. I think that over the years, we're going to find out that there's even more cognitive process going on there. These are effectively not animals. They're somewhere between what we would conceive of as animals and human. Effectively, another intelligent species. Chimpanzees have been observed to use herbal medicine. Chimps and bonobos and so forth, they use ecofax. Gorillas can engage in gestural communication on a complexity level that until Coco and so forth was not understood. These studies are fascinating to me. I love science. You may have seen this. King of Biltong, Alex Jones eats our biltong, and so should you. Packed with B12, creatine, iron, and zinc. Biltong is a great addition to a healthy diet. Go to BiltongUSA.com. Use code STICKS for 10% off. A good idea. Yeah, Alex Jones seems to have gotten buffer lately. Maybe it's the fucking biltong. You never know. By the way, anytime Anton super chats, we've got him to say too salty. Whenever he arrives or super chats, Bovright must be eaten. I'd eat the biltong, but I'm getting low. Oh, that's right. Where are the goji berries? Damn it. I lost my goji berries. I need more of them. Sigil, people don't like teaching animals things because it's going to cause some awkward discussion about how humans are currently called we're currently calling people. Yeah, it's more like, the ethical complaint is like, should we really be interfering with the natural order and stuff like that? And it's like, yes, we should be. We should be proactively training apes, both in nature and in captivity, to communicate. With regards to those in captivity, it's effectively like you're taking care of a very slow adult, and you're trying to help them help themselves. They can communicate with you. They can tell you what they need. They can tell you hurt and point to their foot. They can tell you apple. Well, that's what you want to eat, and so forth. Not every ape probably will have that intellectual capacity, but to an extent. And in nature, we should be doing that because it will increase their survivability. Literally, I think that scientists should go out into the jungles and teach these apes to the best of their ability, avoid humans, because they are dangerous and violent beings, which is a hilarious juxtaposition. Because people think, well, if I go out in the jungle, maybe a chimp will tear my arms off. The chimp is less likely to attack you than a human being is, so don't worry too much. Although I will note that orangutans can get a little bit clingy sometimes. I've seen footage of that. I still love them. Ben Bacon sent $2. No comment, thank you. Paul, it's been said before, but I think it needs being said again. When leftists call people a Nazi, what they're saying is not C, as in not a communist. Good point. Jason Lane, Biden's cancer can't possibly have developed since his last physical. Advanced bone metastasis takes at least a year in the absolute most aggressive form. Exactly. They knew. They knew while he was in office, possibly even before the election. They may have been giving him therapy the whole time to try to slow it down. Over easy mode, Jane Goodall got 2 of her fingers bitten off by chimps. Ew. That would be unpleasant. Just saying. So yeah, again, a salute for Kanzi. Effectively a person, if not a human being. FDA plan to ban fluoride supplements baffles and alarms dental experts. Oh my god. Yes, removing fluoride products that can be ingested by children. It was announced on May 13th. From the market, citing concerns about potential harm to gut microbes, links to thyroid disorders, weight gain, and decreased IQ. I agree with this. Get rid of fluoridated water. If you want to fluoridate the toothpaste, that's one thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't even really need it in the toothpaste, actually, when you think about it. Keep in mind, the average person, like let's say in a normie family, so they're brushing with fluoridated toothpaste, they're drinking fluoridated water, and they're also using fluoride trays when they go to the dentist. This is excessive. This is how I was when I was a kid, actually. Thankfully, it didn't reduce my IQ. I'm very happy about that. Apparently, it was 146 or some shit. I have no clue. I thought it was 132. Apparently, it was higher, according to the state testing standards. I didn't know this. I had lost the paperwork. It's in the safe somewhere. Anyway, when you're using that much fluoride, it's like using some makes sense, as long as you're not ingesting it. You just, you're brushing with it. That makes sense. You just spit the toothpaste out. Although for some reason, some people swallow their toothpaste, and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't understand. You spit it out, and so it's on your teeth. And it does help to harden the teeth against erosion. But if you're also doing the fluoride tray, and you're drinking the fluoridated water, which you're literally ingesting, that's going to your bones as well. There's no reason to do this. It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't understand why anyone would stand in the way of ending this sort of trend. And children's toothpastes don't need fluoride. Do you know why? The ones that are marketed to little kids? Can you guess? I'll give you a moment. Can anyone guess why fluoride is not necessary in the little kids' toothpaste? I'm watching chat on both ends. I'm wondering if anyone else has connected in their head why it would be not necessary. Exactly, Rambam3000, you are correct. Baby teeth! Until your teeth start falling out and getting replaced by the ones that'll be permanent, why would you need fluoride anyway? It's not necessary. It makes no difference. The baby teeth, they're gonna fucking fall out. Except for two of mine. I've still got one baby tooth actually in my mouth. It's doing well considering I'm almost 40. The other one got cracked open by an olive pit. I was eating, for those of you that don't know, I was eating Kalamata olives in the Netherlands a few years ago. And they were marketed as pitless. So I'm crunching down on them because, there's no pits in them, so it doesn't matter. One of them still had the pit in it. And the tooth was already, iffy. It was already a little bit loose, but it really fucked it up. And so I'm like, shit. And it hurt like hell, by the way. So I went into the bathroom and just ripped it out, basically. Yeah, it was a difficult time. But, yeah, if you've got baby teeth that are going to fall out anyway, why would you fluoridate them? What's the fucking point? Just use a fluoride toothpaste, to teach proper dental etiquette, obviously. And it's just like, you're teaching them flossing or something like that. Or using mouthwash, potentially. But you don't need to, you don't need fluoridated water or anything like that. You don't even need a fluoridated toothpaste for little kids. Kids, little kids get cavities and stuff like that. Oh, what a terrible time. That cavity won't affect their adult tooth that's coming through now, will it? Teach them proper dental etiquette. By the way, you can brush with charcoal toothpaste. Some of them use baking soda and so forth for whitening. Sigil. So what's causing thyroid issues more? The fluoridated water or all the Teflon chemicals DuPont is still dumping into our water? And the problem chemical in that DuPont waste is, drumroll, fluoride! Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's retarded. And why would, again, having dentists argue in favor of fluoridation because my teeth wouldn't make sense for any other reason than people who are in any other industry arguing against something that makes them money. I hate to tell you this. Just because they happen to be medical professionals, in some cases, doesn't mean that they're not acting in their own self-interest. Same is true of politicians. When they try to sell you more regulations, there might be a reason for that. Happens all the time. Yeah, I've brushed with charcoal before. It works really well, actually. Normally, I just use a regular toothpaste. It's lightly fluoridated, I guess, but nothing major. But I don't understand people that swallow toothpaste. I haven't been to the dentist in quite a few years, actually. My teeth are all still there, other than the one that I cracked on the olive. That was, again, rather painful. I kept getting injured. I still do. I have a sore on my leg for some reason. I don't know exactly what I did to it. I blame the cat. I mean, I broke my foot when the cat decided to jet out when I opened the bathroom door and I had to sidestep. I came down right on the side of my left foot, and I could hear the crack. Liz at the time thought that I had closed the door because it was so loud. I took one step, and then I'm like, oh shit. And it's the worst pain I've felt in my life. And I'm like, Liz, you have to bring the office chair over here. And I'm like propped up against the door. And she did, and I sat down and I started wheeling myself around with the other leg. Managed to order a ROM walker, which was great because for some reason, I don't know how the hell they designed them. When you put the ROM walker on, your foot doesn't hurt anymore, or only very, very slightly. I don't know what engineering went into developing those, but they're a goddamn miracle for somebody who has a foot injury. I couldn't believe it. I figured, okay, I'm going to be, wincing every time I take a step, but at least I'll be able to take a step. Nope. Virtually no pain at all. It was insane. Sigil, if you're not familiar with what DuPont and 3M is dumping in our water, Veritasium's new video is all about it. Lots of people waking up to how evil those companies are. Yeah, part of the reason why water is fluoridated is to dispose of the fluoride, actually. They figured, hell, we kill two birds with one stone. On the one end, we're getting rid of this fluoride waste, and on the other end, we're improving people's teeth. The problem is that it destroys your gut biome and has bone-related issues associated with it. Girl of the Valley. Probably how Biden got his ball cancer from DuPont. Yeah, it would be interesting if he did get, prostate cancer from DuPont chemicals. Sigil, they've found traces of DuPont waste in the middle of fucking Antarctica. It's spreading everywhere, and it's in every being on this planet. Yeah, I know. This is why I try to grow organic vegetables and forage for fruit and stuff like that as much as possible. This year, by the way, everyone, is probably going to be more of a foraging than gardening year. Because I do not have the time and resources necessary to completely rehabilitate the garden. It's a slow process. Partial rehabilitation is possible, but the expansion that was planned will have to wait until, I believe, next year. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of nature videos very soon because, of course, now I have a phone that has a much better camera than before. So there's going to be some berry picking, and I have a feeling based on the weather patterns and the predicted weather patterns for the year, I think there's going to be a shit ton of raspberries out there. So I'm probably going to do what I did that one other year. I'm going to smash a bunch of them into basically a paste and then freeze them. I might even put them into popsicle modes. Molds, actually. You don't need to sweeten it. You don't need to do anything else. You put it in the mold and then you freeze it, and it becomes a berry popsicle. All it is mashed up raspberries. You got to make sure not to get any, like, retarded ones. They've all got to be ripe, though. I don't think it's going to be a good year for blackberries, though. I'm going to check the bushes later. I'll probably go out and do a little bit of topical weeding, and then I'll pretty much call it a day. So, because it's still... The weather's not 100% at the moment. This entire week is basically sprinkles and over again. So I'm going to take a look at it. I also need to take a look out in the swamps because I know there's at least one spot where there's marsh marigolds that were growing. And those are edible. And I never knew it. If I had known, I would have picked a couple. But no. Yeah. Oh, also, it looks like we're going to get a bumper crop of black raspberries. So the blackberries, iffy. Raspberries look good. Black raspberries, loaded. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. If we get enough of them, maybe make a pie. One time, funny story. Now, this is just a bant stream at this point. One time, my mom made a blackberry pie, and she forgot to put in the sugar, actually. And I thought it was the best pie I've ever goddamn had. She thought she had fucked up. I was like, this is goddamn delicious. It had this deep berry flavor with that underlying bitterness that you get with blackberries and just the natural sweetness of the berries. Oh, it was absolutely perfect. It was one of the best things I've ever eaten. Next time she makes a blackberry pie, and assuming we get enough of them, we probably will, I'm going to tell her, hey, why don't you put like half as much sugar in as the recipe calls for? That sounds good. Yeah, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, man, I'm telling you. That reminds me of there was a prank call. Frank Garrett called the crazy, what was it, metal worker or something like that. And that was one of his lines, and they turned it into a soundboard. And he was like saying, show me the money, show me the money, and like weird shit like that. He knew he was being pranked. He was one of the self-aware ones. Sigil, my blackberries keep raping my white berries and stabbing the yellow berries. What do? Eat them all. All three of them. Also, there are some wild grapes that grow around here. I'm thinking, like, if they make clusters or something like that, I might as well, grab them too. And I've got asparagus out there. Got all sorts of stuff. I'm just thinking, I know all the locations where things are out in the woods, and like where all the good edible things are. Like I know this one spot, it's under a bunch of trees up on the ridge, and it's filled with mushrooms every single year. So come September or thereabouts, I'm going to be going up there. And it's very difficult to scale that. It's more than a 45-degree incline, so you have to use the roots in order to actually go around. But it's filled with boletus, and they are the edible kind. So I'm thinking about making like sautéed mushrooms or something. And don't worry, for those of you who say, no, Sticks, don't poison yourself. I know the difference between a false bolete and the edible kind. These are the edible ones. Sometimes you'll find a king bolete actually up there. Those are very valuable, by the way. We've got prime mushrooming territory because the area behind the house, it's like 400 fucking acres or something like that, is dotted with swamps and creeks and shit like that. Some of them alluvial. And hills and so forth. And it's got very humid soil and a lot of rotting wood. So it's an excellent place to go for mushrooms. Right out on the property, right off to the side, in that direction actually, we get witch's butter every single year. Years ago, when the trees got cut down out there, I took a bunch of logs, which had been split apart, and I rolled them into place to make sort of a pathway system. I figured it would be pleasant for hot summer days because you can go out in the shade, you can sit on one of the logs and drink some lemonade or something. And I have succeeded at this. The logs slowly rot down, and it appears that virtually all of them are infected with witch's butter. Apparently, this is, by the way, an edible mushroom species with folkloric connotations. I haven't tried it, but I'm thinking this year, when it does bloom, maybe I will. I don't know. Yeah, I love the woodlot. It's one of my favorite places on earth. Sir Thomas Drake just tagged you, Jam and Bean, and King of Biltong in a post on X. Follow a brother back. Happy Monday, clankers. Yeah, okay, I could do that. There we go. I'm following back now. Hello, Sir Thomas Drake. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're reposting that. Consider yourself followed. Sign of Jonah. Sticks, start building the freaking pirate ship. You have no time to frolic in the woods. Yeah, no, this particular time of year, this is normally like the planting era. Like a few weeks ago, that's when you gather ferns. And then a few weeks later, that's when you gather certain fungi and you start getting in like the cold crops and shit like that. But this year's a little wonky. Keep in mind, in June, I have to go down to New Orleans, where they've got an entirely different set of edible plants and fungi, by the way. I would love to go mushrooming out in those fucking swamps, by the way. It's rather fun. Ben Bacon, Trump haters are just jealous they can't bed him. Yeah. Yeah, that's been a claim by the left with regards to certain female politicians. Well, you just hate her because you can't fuck her. And it's like, no, I would never do that because I don't want AIDS, basically. If you fuck Trump, he gives you a Porsche. If you fuck AOC, she gives you chlamydia. Just saying. Oh, by the way, this is a Trump. God damn, the Bo writes like fucking crack. I would not like to be with a far left woman. Let's put it that way. And I couldn't be with a moralistically conservative woman either because I like to fuck before marriage, so to speak. But, yeah. Somewhere in the middle, you find sanity. Yeah, Zeta, sail down the Mississippi. I am absolutely going to be doing that when I get back to New Orleans. That will absolutely happen. I'll arrive a few days before the trial date and have a little fun. I'll wander down Bourbon Street and see all the crazy shit that goes on there. Trust me, you're not going to be able to walk. I've got a challenge for you. Go from one end of Bourbon Street to the other and back. Tell me what you see. Those of you who live in New Orleans or have been there, you'll understand what I mean. Oh, there's a dude passed out. There's a dude who's working for Hustler, trying to get you to go in order to see strippers. There's a drunk person, well, multiple of them. Here's a group of college girls who are clearly on vacation. They're drunk too, probably. And on other substances. And so on and so on forth. That dude wants to sell me a hat. He's claiming he just wants to give me a hat, but I know the grift. Never take anything from anyone, especially on Bourbon Street or anywhere in New Orleans, that you think is free. It is not free. they're going to then ask you for payment. Now, you can always return it to them, but don't bother. Stephanie S. Walk Bourbon Street and step over vomit. Not exactly a lot of vomit, actually, there. I think that's mostly on the side streets or something like that. No, Bourbon Street is absolutely hilarious. It's hilarious fun, actually. I have had a great time every time that I've been there. Because there's so many cool restaurants. It's a little bit overpriced, but there's great restaurants. The people are generally friendly. I mean, there's scammers and you might get pickpocketed, but you just keep your wallet in the front pocket. I never knew that people kept it in the back pocket still. I thought that that was a dying thing. Sigil! Once we have the pirate ship, I know a great first target to get our swords bloody and get down combat experience, the Mexican Navy. Yeah, apparently the Mexican Navy still uses masted vessels, so I think that if we got a modern vessel and armored it and put on a turret, we could probably take out the whole Mexican Navy. This is odd, because Mexico used to be an empire, actually. Very strange. '92 cat, yes, the anal carrot. For those of you that don't know, when I was walking through New Orleans, down near Bourbon Street, I took a picture of it too. It's on Twitter. There was one instance in which there was a carrot that was just laying off to the side, propped up next to a door. I don't know what horrors that carrot has seen, but there is a better than 50-50 chance that it was inside of at least one orifice, possibly multiple. I have a feeling that someone had either a very good or very bad night that night. That was an interesting time. I didn't dare to get too close to it for obvious reasons. Imagine there's like a miasmus coming off of the carrot. It's like, oh, I've been in 3 vaginas and an asshole tonight. That's entirely possible. Imagine the smell. Really, I think somebody probably just dropped a carrot out of their grocery bag accidentally and didn't bother to retrieve it, but it's possible. Celestial. Freedom is found when authoritarian sides fight. Yeah, I hope that they all chop each other to pieces. Sigilstone. Officially, the U.S. Navy has also masted vessels. They're just for show and fun, and I bet the Mexican ship was lots of fun until it lost propulsion. Yeah, I guess so. I know we've got, like, several, old ships that have been, maintained. But, this one is apparently for naval training. If the reports are true. So, this is not just a museum vessel, it's an actual military vessel. Yes, we got the Constitution and stuff, but I mean, it's basically a floating museum. I've been on the reconstruct. What is it? Fucking. Which ship was it? Just a sec. Let me check. Which one was it? Ah, yes, the Mayflower tour. I've been on the Mayflower. It's not the original ship, of course, but yeah. TripAdvisor, what to know? It's fucking hilarious fun. Yeah, indeed. A gift from the UK to the US in 1957. It's a full-scale reproduction of the real Mayflower. And it's considerably fun. They've got method actors and shit. I think the Plymouth colony is more fun. By the way, the Plymouth colony, which you can go to and interact, they've got method actors literally there. If you go to the Plymouth colony, the opening, for those of you who are movie nerds and who really like Hocus Pocus, that village that they fly over at the beginning, that's the Plymouth colony. You can actually go there and take a visit. Oh, you can get lost for hours there. You can also get some good food, by the way. Isn't that great? I didn't realize that until fairly recently. I'm like, that looks. I was rewatching the movie like one Halloween ago because I watch Hocus Pocus every single Halloween, like a true trooper. It is a tradition. And I was like, that looks familiar for some reason. Like the blockhouse at front and stuff. And then I realized, oh shit, I've physically been there. Back as a kid. In fact, let's see, what year was Hocus Pocus released? And what year would I have been there? Hocus Pocus of 1993. Okay, so I went there a few years later. But not that many years later. Holy shit. Holy Jesus. The Emperor's Champion. The Greek Navy has a trireme in service. Hey, that's pretty cool. Bog. Sarah Jessica Parker. No, thank you. She literally plays a pedophile in that movie. The insinuations that she makes are exceptionally sexual in that movie, and often directed at people who are supposedly still in high school. She's creepy, actually. She may not have been unattractive at the time, but personality and physical looks are two different things. Yeah, then there's probably a reason why they cast her in that particular role. Misner Flux, third live stream in a row I was not notified about. Seems YouTube is back to the algorithmic throttling. Yes, they are. Some people who dislike me do not believe me when I tell them this. Oh well. Whatever. I'm not the only content creator that has this issue. I'm gonna finish off the bowl right. That's what I'm talking about. Everyone, go to BiltongUSA.com and get some of this shit. You only need a small amount of it, trust me. It's very salty. Although it doesn't, I think, contain salt at all. Yeah, it contains almost no salt, but it's exceptionally salty tasting. I don't know exactly why. I'm assuming that's the yeast extract in it. It's mixed with, basically, beef bouillon. It's delicious. Want salty flavor on a low-salt diet? Buy Bullfright. That could actually work. Lamp Crow, is there anything mimetic about Scott Adams having the same disease as Biden? Maybe Scott Adams is practicing dark magic and, help to transfer it to another individual. No, really, there's nothing mimetic about that. I'm just, I hope Scott Adams recovers. It appears that fate has issued the black spot to Joe Biden. Sigil, take the Bovrite challenge. Put your dick in the jar like those candy sticks and have your girlfriend suck it. Huh. I don't think that'll be a thing. Although it'd be interesting. Sticks, Hex, and Hammer OnlyFans, Swab Dude, any updates about your garden? I've only done a limited amount of work in there. The problem is manifold here. First, I don't have a lot of time. Secondly, my resource base is relatively lower. You gotta pay your taxes and shit like that. Third, the weather has not been cooperating. Fourth, I can't mow the garden at all until I get the charcoal crushed up, because if the metal blades on the lawnmower hit the crushed charcoal, it could explode and kill me. Not that I care, but, other people might. So I've got to crush up the charcoal, weed the beds, get the weeds out, put the charcoal in the soil along with any additional amendment, and then I can begin putting in the seedlings. So it's not going to be as sophisticated as last year. Lamp Crow, he's terminal, expects to go in summer. Well, that sucks. Scott Adams has been a fixture of political commentary now for years, and really, really pissed off the left. Haha, more power to him. So, well, I'm probably not invited to his funeral, although I have a feeling he's the sort of person that would rather be cremated anyway. I will miss the commentary. I'll miss the Dilbert. Anyways, I'm going to have to go offline here because I've got to docket news for tomorrow's morning videos. And I do want to check the berries. I haven't gotten out into nature as much as I've wanted to because I've been so busy with videos and writing and stuff like that. Oh, one last thing. I've got this is my broadsheet for the new Morbid Stories titles. I think there's about 14 of them all fleshed out. And some of them have been based on your suggestions, by the way. Numerous individuals pouring in on the tweet that I made about the subject to give me titles. What I do is, you give me a title, and I build a story literally just around the title. It doesn't matter what it is. I let my creativity take hold. I am insane when I'm in these moods. And so I just, proceed, basically. I've already gotten 4 of them done, by the way. In fact, did I get... Just a second, let me check this. Yeah, I got both of the new Splatterpunk stories done, and both of the Beastly booklets. I've got different sections. There's Splatterspunk stories, Beastly booklets, macabre manuscripts, blasphemous brochures, and lunatic literature, and perverted papers. Should give you an indicator of the kinds of stories that I'm writing when I'm in the mood to write them. I'll probably be doing it later. But first, I'm going out into nature after I docket some news, because I'm done. My energy is expended. I need to get some fresh air and shit. So yeah, there's going to be some fun. I ordered a copy of the 2nd edition of Morbid Stories. That's the one that comes before. This is now the 3rd edition. I'm re-editing the entire thing. I'm reformatting the entire thing. And changing it up and adding a lot of new content. I'm going to add some more morbid haikus as well. That was at the end of Morbid Stories 2. I did that as a joke. It'll be fucking hilarious. Zeta Reticulus. Fiction? Yes, it is fiction. V12000. I don't know. I don't get it. Copium Poppies. Occam's Rusty Razor Blade could be a good morbid story. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Didn't you already submit one? Fucking... I don't know. Yes, you did. Bor Biltong. Yeah, you've already got one. You only get one story. I can only do one per person maximum. Don't worry, Bor Biltong will be accepted. I have a feeling that it's going to be a little bit like that story from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, where the butcher there, he grinds up a kid and then sells his sausage, basically. Copium, I submitted 4. I know, but it's going to have to be one per person. You got to realize I've got to reformat the whole thing. And so it's difficult to keep the format in place. If you've ever edited a book, you know what I'm talking about. Keeping the format reasonable and making sure everything fits and so forth can be a goddamn chore. And keep in mind, this is a pet project sort of work. This is not the sort of thing where I expect to sell 1 million copies or anything like that. So this is a pet project. This is just for my own amusement. Can't wait to order a version of my own work, actually. All right, anyway, everyone, I'm going to go offline, and it is time to docket some work. That's about all.